Today, I'm going to be answering a question that I get asked over and over again. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Daily Cigar. I am Lizardo Vivas, and today I'm going to be answering a question that I get asked over and over again. Over on my Instagram, I get at least 3 to 4 times a week the question of, Lizardo, how do you cut a cigar? And although it might seem like an easy question to answer, I find that most people cut their cigars according to preference. Saying that, there are some cigars that I believe benefit from different cuts. I'm going to be smoking this Bullet by El Séptimo, drinking some coffee, and I'm going to show you what I've learned, what I know, and hopefully you find it helpful. I think the best way to do this is to get to know the cigar. So starting from the top down, we have the cap, we have the body, and we have the foot. The foot is the area where we normally light the cigar, where we burn it. In the cap is where we're going to concentrate. Depending on the brand or the region, we can have a double cap or a triple cap. Cubans are generally triple cap. This is the shoulder. Remember this part, it will be useful later on. I personally give most of my cigars a straight cut. The best known way of doing this is with a double blade. You will probably would have seen this kind of cutters, which is a guillotine kind of style. You know, you can get them free or very cheap when you buy a cigar or something. These cutters, I gotta say, you know, these are the cheapest, and as long as they're sharp, because the thing with cutters is they gotta be sharp. So as long as they're sharp, this is one of the best, especially this one, which has, you know, backing into it. All you gotta do is just play your cigar, cut it. There's no room for error. We'll get into that in a little bit. But anyway, straight cutters come in different shapes and forms. So we have here the XO by Cigar, which is a cutter that I like. I use it a lot, it's very sharp. This one, which looks like a V, the DuPont, which is a double blade. You can also do a straight cut with scissors. And then you have cutters like the V cut, which is the one I have here. Is a very small one, but it also has a straight cut. I kind of like this one for small cigars. And then the punch. So as I mentioned, most of my cigars, I give them a straight cut. Like for example, robustos. What we're trying to do is to open the cap of the cigar without removing too much. A way of guiding yourself is to never go over the second cap. If you do go over the second cap, what happens is the way that the cigar is rolled, if you cut too low, if you cut below the shoulder, then the cigar will start to unravel and it will be basically ruined. You need to try and stay over the second cap, just remove a little bit of the cigar and it will be perfect. You don't need to cut too low. If you're new, a lot of people make these mistakes. That's why if you're new, I will suggest using this kind of cutters which got a back on it. So all you gotta do is place your cigar. You won't be able to go any further than that. Just make a cut and that's it. Other people, what they do is they place it on the table. They put the cutter on the table, they place the cigar and then they cut it. Again, that's another way of, you know, not cutting too much. But as a general rule, all you gotta do is stay above the second cap, just cut as minimum as you can, and that will be it. All we're trying to do is remove a little bit that layer, the outside layer, to open up the food so that when you light it and you take a draw, the smoke comes through, the air comes through. But of course, there are different cigars out there. You have torpedoes, you have box press, you got laceros, you got big ones, you got thick ones, you got round ones, you got square ones. So how do you tackle them? I'm going to show you here how to tackle some of them. For something like a lancero, I will probably use a small cutter like this V cut. It's small enough to remove the cap and create a nice V without damaging the cigar. Now my V cutter is vintage. It's a small one. Back in the days, they didn't like big cigars. They used to smoke a lot of lanceros and that's what they used to use. But you can still get larger V cutters, something for like a robusto or something. Not a problem. It's the same idea. All you gotta do is push the cigar inside, cut it. Just don't push too far down because again, if you do, you're gonna cut too far down the caps and that can start to unravel the cigar. Here we have this Mombacho, which by the way, I've done a review on it. This Mombacho Casa Fabili. It's a beautiful, lovely cigar. I've done a review. I'll leave it here on the link. You can go and watch it later. But here I will use the XO cutter. I really like the cutter. One of the problems that I find with guillotines is that sometimes it's hard for you to push the two sides at the same time. But with the XO, it's quite easy. You know, the mechanism, the way that it's been made, if you push one side, the other side goes in. So it always gives you a nice cut. I really enjoy this. As you can see, it's a bit battered. I've used it a lot. I really like the XO. Now, there's another type of cutter. I'm sure you've seen them all over Instagram, YouTube and stuff. People are going crazy about it. They're beautiful. The one I have here is a French handmade one. A stunning cutter. It comes in a green ostrich pouch, handmade by people who worked at Hermes in France. This is made in France as well. You can get different color scales, different type of blades. You can get Damascus blades, steel blades. Anyway, they're stunning. The good thing about this type of cutters is that, you know, if you're in a picnic or if you're playing golf, you want to peel an apple, you can peel it. This is not the type of cutter that you take to the lounge and you just give it to all your friends. This is something that, you know, you invest a little bit of money. It's a nice piece to have, lovely to have. I really enjoy this one. But anyway, this one, you can get a very nice cut with this. This is something that I've been experimenting with and I really enjoy it. Basically, all you do is you apply a little bit of pressure to the cigar and then you turn the cigar slowly. Don't press too hard. Don't turn too hard. Just go about it slowly, slowly, slowly. Go all the way around. And as you will see, the cap comes off. So this is the best way that I found to just take the cap off. Only the top cap. You're not ruining the filler, you're not ruining anything. You're not cutting the cigar, you're just removing the cap above it. I think using these knives for that is perfect. It has to be sharp. Again, not just this knife, any other cutter that you use, it's gotta be sharp. Remember, you're cutting through all the leaves and depending on the humidity, if you just bought the cigar, if your cigar has been laying around, you need a sharp cutter to be able to cut the cigar. Another thing that people do is they like to lick the cigar before they cut it. I do that sometimes depending on how I feel the cigar. It does help if you moisten the cap a little bit, easier to cut. But you have to do this, and I gotta say, you have to do this if you're using your own cutters. And if you're not sharing your cutter, think about it. You're putting your spit all over the cigar and then you cut it and you give the cutter back to somebody else. It's not nice, especially now with COVID. No, don't do that. If it's your cigar, yeah, you're able to do it, no problems. It does cut the cigar easier. It doesn't damage the wrapper that much. But again, I think the most important thing is to have a sharp cutter. Now the cigar that I get most of the questions for, torpedoes. Yes, they come in different shapes, sizes. Some are round, some are box press. People don't know what to do with them. But I think this is the cigar that you can have most of your fun with. Most people will just give them a horizontal cut. Not bad, but I think it's a bit of a waste. Although it is quite good because if you cut too little, you can always cut a little bit more, open the drawer, enjoy the cigar differently. But what I personally like to do is give it a cut diagonally. So what I do is I keep the band facing up so I know which way, when I place the cigar on the ashtray, I'll know which way the cut is being made. And then you just do a cut on the top. I think is the best way you can direct the smoke inside your mouth. It can hit the roof of your mouth. If you're tired of that, you can turn it around and hit the tongue. What happens with me is I get to pick up different flavors. They're more intensity because it's just hitting you in that area. Instead of hitting you in the back of the throat, it hits you either in the roof or the tongue of your mouth. What you can also do is turn it around and give it another cut on the back. So you have like a V on a torpedo. It not only looks good, but again, it changes the whole experience. So what I would say is just try different things and see what you like. You might just like a normal horizontal cut, change how far down you cut it. The good thing about the torpedo is that the way that it's wrapped, it gives you more space between the caps. So you can cut a bit further down and it won't damage the cigar. It's not going to start unraveling. It will keep its shape and you'll be able to smoke it and enjoy it. So this is a cigar that I really like, you know, to experiment with. You get the box press, you get the round ones, you can try different ways, different brands. You know, you might like this Nova cigar, which actually I did a review on one of their cigars, the Lancero. I'll leave it linked up here as well. Great cigars. But then you get some Cuban cigars and stuff. Just try. I think cigar smoking is, you know, is just trying, experimenting, see what you like. This is why I mentioned at the beginning that, you know, maybe in the comments you're all gonna kill me for doing all these things, but it's the way that I like to do it. So what I would say is try. The only things that you have to keep in mind is don't cut too far down because the cigar is going to unravel, especially with normal, you know, robusto cigars. Torpedoes, you get to play a little bit more and just experiment. The other kata that we have is the punch. The good thing about a punch is that as long as the cigar is bigger than the punch that you're using, you won't damage the cigar. Just make sure that the cigar is bigger so you don't, when you use the punch, you don't cut below the shoulders of the cigar and it won't unravel. I like to use the punch with a bigger ring gauge. For example, this 77 by El Diablo is a big cigar. What I like to do is give it a cut in the back and then I'm able to enjoy the cigar a lot better. You just punch the cigar, turn it a little bit, pull it out, and all you're removing is that cap at the top of the cigar. I like to do this with a big ring gauge cigar because sometimes if you give a cigar like this a big cut, like for example, you use a guillotine and you give it a straight cut, it might be too wide. The cigar is big enough, you're gonna get a lot of smoke coming into your mouth. It might be unpleasant. It might be a medium body cigar, but it could also be a full body cigar and that could be too much. So using a punch is perfect for this kind of cigars. You punch it once. If it's not enough, if you think, you know, you smoked it a bit and oh no, I want a bit more, all you do is just punch it next to it and then you will open that gap. As long as you don't cut too much around the shoulders, it won't unravel and you're able to enjoy. Just experiment. Cigar smoking is, you know, experimenting, trying to see what you like. Punch a robusto if you want. Punch a bigger ring gauge punch twice. Just try different things. I think this is the way that I've been doing it. This is the way that I like to do it. But just try different things. Some people swear by V cuts, other ones by straight cuts. Other people like punching. You know, just try whatever you want. Enjoy it. Have the same cigar. If you can have this like a torpedo, give it a straight cut, give it a diagonal cut, give it a double cut. If you're having a big ring gauge, try. Just smoke it one time one way, smoke it another time one way, and then you find out how you like it. The rule is don't cut too much down the shoulder so it won't unravel. You got more flexibility with a torpedo cigar, but again, just be careful. Do it slowly, cut less. Then if it's not enough, cut a bit more and enjoy it. This is what smoking cigars is all about. Enjoyment, you know, is a personal thing. This is why I say, and please remember, the cigar smoking is not a hobby, it's a lifestyle. So enjoy it.